Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody's doing great. It's good to see you guys. Happy Fed Day. The news is out, and the Federal Reserve has left rates unchanged. The vote was 9-2, with 2 members dissenting, saying rates should be cut. I think that is what kind of the initial little pop here is. And now that we've gotten that pop, we're getting the drop, as you might expect. Fed economic growth moderated in first half. Uncertainty about economic outlook remains elevated, which is kind of interesting. And, I believe the change in the statement is starting to hit. And that is why we're starting to get a little bit of selling here, folks. Off the bat, I'm just looking at the Fed statement. I want to see what changed. They removed the language saying uncertainty has diminished, which is interesting. And off the bat, you can see we've gone from, a pretty nice up move to now down. Now, heading into this move, markets were pricing in about $22 of movement. Right now, we are not really, we're top to bottom. We've moved 10 so far. But so just getting that out of the way, I want to welcome you guys. I'm Mark Sebastian. I am your only option. We are currently reacting to what's going on with the Fed. Irregardless of the Fed, I would like you to check out me and Hannah tomorrow. She and I have been working on something special for quite some time. This has been hundreds, if not thousands of hours of work, umpteen thousands of dollars of research and data. And we have spent the last 4 months just pouring our time and hearts into what we're going to be unveiling tomorrow. You'll walk away with a ton of new knowledge that you didn't have. And you'll understand why what I'm working on is such a game changer. So if you have not joined us yet and have not registered, you have to. We're not sending out to the replay to anybody that doesn't register. Why? There's some real proprietary stuff that we're going to be revealing tomorrow night. So everybody that signs up is going to have to sign an NDA. You sign the NDA, then we can send you the replay. So even if you can't make it, I need you to register. To register, again, click the link that is pinned in at the top, or the link that Christian just dropped. So, anywho, just wanted to drop that PSA. It's very important. I am watching. I'm going to be with you until Powell starts to talk, and then I'm going to be going behind the curtain to talk to my special situationers until 3 o'clock. We'll watch the Fed meeting together. I know William says he feels very important having signed the NDA, as you should. So off the bat, looking at the news that has hit, they're pricing in at least one rate cut. And there is got all kinds of fun stuff going on. Trump signing a couple of executive orders on tariffs in copper, and also on Brazil. So we just got a big news dump right as the Fed was coming out. That might be why we got this dump, because copper futures. Yeah, copper futures on the copper tariff. Wow. They not looking great on the 5-minute. So again, we're currently kind of exactly where we were when we started. A lot of times when this news comes out, we're going to move, then we're going to move the other way, and then things will start to normalize until Powell speaks. I do think that right now, the two dissenting governors is pretty bullish bonds. See how the bond market is reacting. You know, off the bat, they're down about 44 cents. They're off the lows. They did have a real nice day on Tuesday, and they are getting stronger. I would expect bonds to go up. If bonds go up, then you're going to see stocks go up as well. VIX is coming off. There is plenty of downside here in VIX. Folks, this is just the beginning of a giant news dump week. So we're going to get through today. And then right after the bell, we're going to get Meta and Microsoft earnings. Then tomorrow, we're going to get PCE. And after the bell, we're going to get Apple and Amazon. And then finally, Friday morning, we get non-farm payrolls, ExxonMobil, and Chevron Texaco. It is going to be a fun couple of days. I'm still waiting to see. So here's what changed in the Fed statement. All right. Although swings in net exports have affected, they changed to continue to affect the data. Recent indicators suggest that growth of economic activity moderated in the first half of the year. All right. Uncertainty about the economic outlook remains elevated. And voting against the action were Michelle W. Bowman and Christopher Waller, who preferred to lower the target range for federal funds by a quarter point at the meeting. Absent not voting, Adriana Kugler. So not a lot of major changes in the Fed statement. But this is the first time we've had two governors dissent since 1993, which shows that we're probably getting real close to a rate cut here, folks. Gostigo asks, what do I think about small caps? Well, that ties into my discussion about bonds. Bonds are the most sensitive. Bonds are extremely going to be moving around right now. And of the different sectors, small caps are going to react the most to changes in interest rates. Here we go. Let me just pull up CME Fed Watch and we can kind of look at what changed. So obviously, this one's over. Let's look at where we are. Currently, we're about 67% chance, 37% chance that there's no rate cut, and about 61% chance that there is a rate cut, and a 1.3 that there's an even bigger rate cut. Not much of a change in Fed fund futures at all. So that, is another reason why things aren't really flying around. Nothing earth-shattering happened today, other than, I think, getting two Fed governors dissenting on a trade. The way we are moving right now, things can change, but we're going to see what Powell has to say. But so far, everything we've seen says, maybe rates, maybe this is bullish. And maybe bonds get a little stronger. And if bonds get stronger, and then small caps are going to explode. You look at what IWM has done on this. Got the little shot and drop, and then we've rallied kind of right back to where we were. IWM is my favorite major index to own right now with where we are. I do believe this is going to be 230, 240, 235 by, in the next couple of weeks. I like IWM to potentially get as high as 240 before this move is over. Checking in on gold, the shiny stuff. Triple top, threatening 300. Gold's in a precarious spot. What I will say is that for how much gold has moved, this red line down here represents option prices on gold. And option prices on gold are the cheapest that we've seen since before this movement started to happen. So, I just got a ping. I'm in the middle of something. Otherwise, I might do something with this. We have this, the option prices are dropping as the stock drops. That's usually not bullish. I don't think you want to, and for those of you saying, Mark, I don't have these fancy analytics. They actually publish a gold VIX ETF or gold VIX on GLD, the ETF. And this is another way to look at option prices in GLD. And what I would say is I am not interested in jumping into gold until I see option prices to start to go up. So if you are a gold trader, you're a gold bug, you want to play around with this stuff, look at GVZ. And if you see it start to rally and gold is down, that's when you know things are starting to get interesting. Let me get back to SPX. So you see SPX still kind of hanging out. Still kind of stuck in a range. And we're waiting to see if, what Powell has to say. Again, I think we're probably going to go higher. But Powell. Yeah, Mark, I just got dinged, got a new advance notice alert. Yeah, I did too. I'm very tempted to jump in on this, but I'm kind of in the middle of something, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd be all over it. I think that we're going to meander higher. And, now we just kind of wait in the Fed. You can see VIX was up a little bit before. Now it's down. And from yesterday's action, we're currently underperforming the kind of where that straddle was. Let's see what they're looking for through the end of the day. Now, folks, this is something you can add to your trading right now. When you are setting up a trade, setting up for a trade, and you're like, how much could we move? The answer is given to you by option markets. And the answer is the price of a straddle. Now, straddle is when I buy a call and I buy a put at the same time. Okay, if I buy a call on Apple, let's say Apple's $200, just to make it easy. Let's make it easier. Let's say Apple is $100, and I buy an Apple call expiring today at the money, the 100 call for $1. How much do I need Apple to move up to make money? Right. I need it to go over $101. I need to rally more than $1. All right, same scenario. Apple's $100, and I buy a $100 put, meaning I want Apple to go down for $1. How much do I need Apple to move? That's right, $1. So if I buy both the call and the put, then I'm betting Apple's going to move more than the call and the put added together, either up or down. I don't know how many of you, I know option trading is not gambling, but the gambling analogy that applies to option trading when you're dealing with straddles and strangles is the closest thing in gambling when you're a real option trader is you're betting over unders. You're not really betting on who's going to win the game. So if I look at, S&P's trading 63.84, if I look at how much the 63.85 straddle costs, the call and the put, it adds up to exactly $20. So the market is telling me between now and the end of the day, currently, where the over-under for movement is $20. So, knowing that, we were about $23 before the announcement. That means there is a lot of action priced into Powell's conference, which tells me not to jump the gun. It tells me, Mark, I know you're bullish. I know you're bearish. I know you want to kind of bet with, trade with or against the market. But Powell's about to speak, and option prices haven't come in. Tells me there's a lot riding on that. There's a lot of expected movement relative to what was priced in around this news conference. Therefore, wait. So that's kind of my battle plan. I'm going to let him start to talk. I'm going to hear his opening statement. I think we're going to get some really good ideas once he's done with his piece and after the first question or two of what's going to happen. So basically, as soon as Steve Leisman finishes his question is when I'm going to be looking to potentially make a move. And you're saying, why Steve Leisman? He's always one of the first three people whose questions are answered. He's, of course, is the CNBC Fed analyst. Oh, yeah. And right now, we're just kind of in a range. The Dow teetering on up, NASDAQ up nicely, the rut leading the pack. That's another reason to be bullish. When the Russell 2000 is leading us higher, typically markets keep going. All right, now, one thing I could do in this market, if I wanted to, would be to go into my advance notice. And I could look at what it's giving me. And one of the beautiful things about what I'm revealing tomorrow is that this is not news dependent. It is not event dependent. What the market does has nothing to do with what we've built. Now, when the VIX is lower, is that which it currently is, and dropping, does that make this slightly more effective? Maybe a touch. But with the VIX at 50, can I use this tool? Yes. What we've built. The VIX at 10, yes. And with the Fed governor about to talk, could I trade this thing? Absolutely. And that's part of the reason we built it. Is I'm getting sick of having to worry about tweets. I'm getting sick about what the Fed governor is going to have to say. I don't really want it. And you guys know how I feel about earnings events. I never trade them. I'll trade after them. We did a really cool special situation after them. But I never like playing the earnings themselves. So I designed something that helped me trade where I didn't have to worry about anything like that. It didn't just help me trade. It's almost trades for me. So once again, if you're not joining me on tomorrow at 7, hop on. All right. And, we continue to kind of be in a range. What I will say is right now, another sign they're kind of waiting on Powell is that we had kind of this high from we had the high from the announcement, we had the low from announcement, and we haven't really tested either side. And that's a pretty decent sign that, there's not, we're waiting on something. So again, if you haven't checked this out and registered, please hop on board. I feel like the market smells something. Expected return to VWAP leading into announcement and didn't come. Make that stock XYZ. Oh, Upchuck, I'm still mad that Jack did that. It was unbelievable. Ruined a bunch of academic papers. But one of the cool things is did you guys hear that ding when it happened? It went ding. It literally, I just run this thing, and then when there's a trade developing, which there is right now, it literally just alerts me ding. And, now at some point, if I get an opportunity, I'm going to pull this thing up. We continue to just be pricing about the same. They're still looking for about a $20 move. I don't think that is out of the question. Second here. Let me get this out of the way. So what do I think is going to happen on the Fed? Like I said, we got to wait until Powell talks. But my guess is we move higher. I would imagine that I'll be interested to see what his impressions were of Trump's visit to the Federal Reserve in the construction area. I don't know how many of you enjoyed watching that picture. Don't worry about us. Pull it up. We won't tell. Yeah. I have it on my screen over that I'm not sharing, so don't worry, guys. I'm looking at it. Continue to be in this real nice box range, and you notice like just put a trend line in here. I think this thing's gonna roll over like right here. Right there. Oh, right there and right. But we'll see if things get broken out. But right now, like I said, I'm bullish. If you're looking for a cheap shot, um, S&P calls or maybe even Russell 2000 calls, could be pretty, I think, pretty lucrative. The Russell 2000 is trading about 2234 on IWM. If things are bullish, this thing's going to be up over 1%. You might make a little money being into the 225 calls in IWM. Those are about 39 cents. A little cheap shot. Not suggesting front running Powell. As we know, that can get you into some trouble. But there you have it. Now, it is 228. Powell is about to go live. I got time for like a quick question or two before I have to jump over to special situations. Again, click the link at the very top of that is pinned to the top of this chat and join me and Hannah tomorrow night. You'll be happy. VIX continue to come off a little bit. I think we're going to get a strong move higher. I do. Not yet, Chuck. I am going to at some point. Don't worry. I've heard great things, not just from you. I just gotta. That's north, and I'm southwest. Let's see here. Just last minute, I'll just give you a quick kind of what are we looking for in Meta and Microsoft. If you guys don't have a bunch of questions, we're waiting for Paul to talk. Meta currently down 41 cents. The market is pricing at about a 5.85% move. Meta has not moved more than what the market is pricing in since April of 2024. Might be due, especially with how strong a move this thing has happened. Don May, yes, it is going to be recorded, but you still have to register because the replay will not be sent out to anybody that doesn't register. And then Microsoft also reports momentarily. Is pricing in a little bit less than normal. It's been moving more than priced in. Three of the last 4 quarters, it has moved a lot, both up and down. So if I was looking for kind of a value play there, that might be my play. All right, everybody, it is 2:30. Thank you for joining me for our Fed rate decision reaction. Powell is about to speak. So I am going to, one more time, remind you to register. And I'm going to wish you a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Keep an eye on the movement priced in SPX. We're almost 63.90, and they're still at about $20. So we are going to get a little bit of funness here. All right, everybody. I am Mark Sebastian. I am, subtle would be the